There is something almost sacred in the sight of a machine that moves quietly, not in violence, but in understanding. The best of our inventions do not conquer nature, they converse with it. They are built in sympathy with the laws that shape the universe, not in opposition to them. Among such devices, the low RPM permanent magnet generator occupies a special place. It is at once humble and profound, a turning of metal and field that speaks in the same geometry as the cosmos itself. To most eyes, it is simply a generator, a tool for producing current from motion. But for those who look deeper, it is something else entirely, a visible trace of the invisible, a harmonic translation between the mechanical and the magnetic. Its shaft does not just spin, it breathes. Each revolution articulates an old truth, that energy is not created, only revealed through proportion, rhythm, and order. At the heart of the 10 kW 50 kW low RPM permanent magnet generator lies a quiet refinement that separates it from its noisy industrial ancestors. It requires no excitation coil, no external feeding of current to awaken its field. Instead, rare earth magnets hold their alignment in perfect coherence, forming a persistent geometry of potential. When the rotor turns, that geometry interacts with the stator's copper lattice, and energy appears, not by force, but by sympathy. To the untrained ear, the sound of such a machine is unremarkable, a soft hum, a rhythmic whisper of balance. Yet for those who have studied the nature of field and motion, that sound is music. It is the field speaking back, acknowledging the alignment of form with law. This is not a matter of efficiency alone, it is a matter of philosophy. The generator does not seek to extract from nature, but to participate in it. Its slow revolutions are deliberate, graceful. Where other machines demand velocity, this one prefers proportion. Its strength lies not in speed, but in coherence. To appreciate this, one must first understand the lineage it belongs to, a line that stretches from Faraday's trembling disk in 1831 to the great rotating alternators of Tesla and Steinmetz, and now to this quietly turning alternator meant for wind, hydro, or off-grid independence. Every generation of inventors has sought to refine the dialogue between motion and field, each returning to the same fundamental idea, that electricity is not a thing to be manufactured, but a relation to be understood. Faraday's experiment was deceptively simple. A copper disc, a magnet, a galvanometer. Turn the disc, and the needle twitches. In that moment, humanity glimpsed the living geometry of the universe, a geometry where motion through the magnetic field brings forth the electric potential. Faraday himself did not speak of electrons or particles, he spoke of lines of force, of the etheric continuum that binds all things. He saw the field as a fabric, and induction as its vibration. Later, men like Tesla, Steinmetz, and Heaviside expanded this vision, though each in his own way. Tesla's rotating fields were not mere machinery, they were meditations on harmony. He saw in alternating current a rhythm of mutual exchange, magnetic and dielectric, space and counterspace, motion and rest. The polyphase system he conceived was less an invention than a discovery of resonance, the recognition that balance, not brute force, is the key to sustained power. The low RPM permanent magnet generator carries that inheritance in its very design. Its stator and rotor are not enemies locked in struggle, but partners in conversation. The slower it turns, the more clearly one can hear that conversation, a steady whisper of equilibrium. The field responds, the coils breathe, and current flows as gently as the tide. Before electricity was quantified, long before Maxwell's equations or Faraday's notebooks, humanity already knew this balance in another form: the turning of windmills, the lift of water wheels, the dance of sails. The ancients did not calculate torque or lamination losses, they read the wind, they felt the weight of water. Their machines were shaped by observation, by rhythm, by proportion. They learned that power is not extracted from the world, it is borrowed from it. The modern alternator, though refined by science, remains a child of that same intuition. When the 10 kW 50 kW generator begins to turn under the breath of the wind or the slow push of a turbine, it recalls the old millstones and vanes, not through imitation, but through harmony. Its rare earth magnets hold the field steady, needing no feeding current, and in that steadiness we glimpse again the principle that guided all early builders: stillness at the heart of motion. The use of rare earth magnets marks one of the quiet revolutions of our age. Their crystalline coherence allows extraordinary flux density in compact space. Each domain is an ordered memory of the field, a structure that holds its alignment against chaos. In earlier times, such coherence required bulk, massive dynamos, wound coils, and heavy exciters. Today, the same effect is achieved through refinement, not through force, Where once we built mountains of iron, we now build elegance of proportion. The 10 kW 50 kW alternator is a testament to that refinement. Its torque is low, its startup gentle, its structure compact. It neither fights the field nor demands from it. It works in resonance. Efficiency, in such a machine, is not a calculation, it is the natural consequence of coherence. The same philosophy that governed Tesla's vision of rotating fields now finds expression in the smooth turning of its shaft. Every engineer who has studied the geometry of magnetism knows this principle: when the field and motion are in true proportion, resistance vanishes into balance. The so-called back EMF is not an obstacle but an equal partner in the system's harmony. The generator breathed through this rhythm, maintaining equilibrium with each rotation. Even the structure itself reflects this philosophy. The low vibration, the tight alignment of bearings, the balanced lamination of iron and alloy, all are expressions of a deeper respect for geometry. Good engineering is not decoration, it is obedience to law. The designer who shapes such a generator is not merely assembling parts but giving physical form to the symmetry of the field. In a time when power has become synonymous with dependence, when electricity flows only through the veins of vast and fragile grids, the quiet autonomy of such a generator feels almost revolutionary. Off-grid does not mean isolation, it means coherence. It is the return of proportion between human need and natural rhythm. The 10 kW 50 kW generator sits perfectly within this philosophy of independence. It can power a home, a workshop, or a research station. It can run under wind or hydro, with a voltage range from 96 to 380 volts. It is not bound to the grid's roar, it hums with its own internal order. In that hum is the sound of freedom, not rebellion, but self-sufficiency. There is a growing recognition among builders, farmers, and engineers alike that the future of energy is not in gigantism but in refinement. A great city may be bright, but it is brittle. A small, well-balanced machine, quietly turning in the wind, is resilient. The permanent magnet generator belongs to that renaissance of quiet power, a shift from consumption to comprehension. Its specifications tell one story: 10 to 50 kilowatts of output, 12 volts to 120 volts modified sine wave, adaptable to 380 volts AC, low torque, compact form. But the deeper story lies in what those numbers mean: the field made cooperative, not coerced. Each data point is a measure of harmony. Rare earth magnets, a tuned stator, low resistance windings, these are not just materials, but harmonics in metal. Together they form a bridge between the mechanical and the etheric. Energy flows because geometry allows it to. The generator becomes what the ancients might have called an instrument of correspondence. There is a subtle beauty in its operation. When the rotor turns under a slow breeze, there is no sudden surge, no scream of gears, only a gradual awakening. Voltage rises like dawn, quietly, evenly. It feels less like a reaction than a revelation. This is what true design achieves, the appearance of effortlessness. Such grace in motion is the hallmark of philosophy and engineering. Every dimension, the shaft alignment, the lamination spacing, the balance of magnet to winding, reflects thought. The engineer, like the philosopher, seeks proportion. In this sense, to study the generator is to study a philosophy of motion itself, that power is born of order, not of force. Our modern age often forgets that the great scientists were also mystics of proportion. Faraday spoke of lines of force, Tesla of the wheelwork of nature, Steinmetz of invisible harmonics. To them, machines were not inventions but articulations of the natural order. The 10 kW 50 kW generator continues that conversation, embodying their vision in a practical, living form. When one observes it turning under load, there is a sensation not of consumption but of participation, as though the machine were breathing with the wind. It feels alive not because it moves, but because it moves in harmony with what surrounds it. That is what all true efficiency means, the disappearance of resistance. Even its utility, lighting, refrigeration, mobile tools, carries a kind of poetry. It provides not just current but continuity. To power one's world through such a machine is to reconnect with the original spirit of invention, to bring energy back into the realm of understanding rather than dependency. The off-grid revolution now rising around the world is not an escape from civilization but a refinement of it. It is the rediscovery that power, in its highest form, is knowledge. The low RPM generator embodies that truth, that by aligning motion and field with care, one can create abundance without noise, independence without isolation. Every number in its specification sheet conceals an idea, and every idea returns to a single realization, that nature's economy is based on symmetry. Nothing is wasted. The generator does not generate, it reveals what was already there. When the ancients spoke of harmony, they did not mean the absence of conflict but the balance of opposites, the tension between stillness and motion, magnetism and dielectric inertia. The permanent magnet generator is a modern manifestation of that same philosophy. It is the reconciliation of the physical and the metaphysical through geometry. As the shaft turns, whether driven by wind, water, or engine, it completes a cycle that began in Faraday's lab nearly 2 centuries ago. The same principle endures: motion through field gives rise to potential, and potential returns to motion. The circle closes, silently, perfectly. Perhaps that is why machines like this evoke reverence among those who build and study them. They are not loud monuments to progress but quiet reminders of continuity. In their hum we hear the same voice that guided every experimenter since the dawn of science, the voice of the field itself, steady and eternal. The 10 kW 50 kW low RPM permanent magnet generator is more than hardware. It is a philosophy rendered in metal, a geometry of motion that embodies patience, balance, and the humility to work with the field rather than against it. Its slow turning is not weakness but wisdom, in its silence lies its strength. From Faraday's trembling copper disc to Tesla's roaring alternators, from the storm-lit laboratories of the 19th century to the off-grid workshops of today, the same law remains unbroken: electricity is not made, it is revealed. This generator stands as both heir and teacher to that law. When its bearings turn beneath your hand and the first pulse of current flows, you are not simply using a machine. You are participating in a lineage of understanding that stretches back through every inventor, every thinker, every craftsman who ever sought to translate motion into meaning. And if you listen carefully to its hum, you may hear what they heard: not noise, not labor, but a kind of stillness made audible. It is the sound of order breathing. It is the field, alive once more, whispering through iron and copper the oldest truth of all: that power is not possession, but participation.